We will join these puppies together in holy patrimony and get some elastic put in. Hey folks, welcome back. Just a few weeks ago, I published a video about making overalls, and you guys loved it, which is great because I loved it too. But I had a lot of folks ask if I was going to be making a pattern for the overalls. My resounding answer is no. I will not be making patterns for anything. That's just not how I roll, largely because I kind of take from other patterns and adjust it to work for me. I don't think pattern making is going to be in my future, but I did want to show you guys how you could take one simple pattern for shorts and turn it into pants, overalls, shorts. Our base pattern for today is going to be the Piper shorts from Mood Fabrics. This is a free pattern, and what I love about Mood is that all of their free patterns especially are so size inclusive. So what we're going to do is we are going to A, print it out, B, put it together, C, cut it out, and then we're going to get making. So without further ado, put this guy together. Hey, hold on. There we go. I have it all printed out. The great thing about using a shorts pattern is that it takes less paper. So even if you want to make pants, print shorts. I'll be right back when it's all put together.
For this first time around, I decided to cut out a size 16, so I counted the lines in and I traced over it with a Sharpie so that it was a little bit easier to cut on the line. And in no time, I had all my pattern pieces cut out and I was ready to transfer to fabric.
Okay, I had to get a little serious here. So I have everything cut out. It was very, very easy. I am going to cut this out onto fabric. I'm going to use a fabric that is A, cotton, and B, maybe a lighter weight, but something that's pretty sturdy, because if it fits, that's going to become my pattern pieces, and then I can throw the paper away because I cannot stand paper patterns. So let me go find some fabric to put this on. We're going to try a tablecloth. So one of the downfalls of this type of shorts pattern is because they want you to roll the waistband down, you do need quite a bit of fabric. You know, that adds probably 5 or 6 inches to the top. That's fine. We will adjust and adapt because we are good at that. The nice thing about using a tablecloth is I think I'm going to be able to get away with using the factory hem at the bottom, and you know how much I love using a factory hem. This is my pattern. I may even lay the fabric right about here, maybe 1.5 inches up, because I don't need this extra space down here to hem the bottom. So I can use it all at the top. So that's what I'm gonna do.
I laid down my trusty pattern weights and got to cutting using the finest rotary cutter you can find on Amazon. And before I had the opportunity to lose all of my pattern pieces, I pinned them together in the crotch so that they would stay together, because friends stay together. I also went ahead and cut out the pockets now rather than at the end, like I usually do. And then I sewed them together at the crotch. The pant legs, not the pockets. And before I lost all of my motivation, I went ahead and pressed the pockets into their shapes, because I'm an adult.
I have my pockets done. They have been pressed down and the edges have been sewn with coordinating thread, might I add. And I serged together the front panels and the back panels at the crotch. For me, that's one of the best ways to keep them paired up, because otherwise, sometimes they get separated and then they find different matches that aren't exactly right and don't want my shorts to settle for who their partner is. So I sew them together so they are together forever. I also need about 15 more pairs of scissors because they have all disappeared. So now I'm going to place the pockets onto the back panels and get those sewn down, and then we can join the front panels to the back panels. So far, this pattern is very, very simple. It has taken me less than an hour of sewing and fabric cutting time. I'm not including the pattern cutting time because that's not fair. I do like the size of the back pockets, and I'm probably going to keep that pattern piece pretty close by because back pockets are always a little tricky for me to just do by hand. So I am pretty excited about having a new pocket piece that I could put on any of my pants. Okay. You know what? I think I did them backwards. That's them serged together, but this is the inside. Here's what I can do. I can French seam these. French seaming is when you sew your garment with the wrong sides out, and rather than be lazy and unpick it, you just put that seam on the inside and encase it in itself, basically. And then you give it a fancy name like French seam. Lazy seam is not really as attractive. All right, we're gonna lazy seam these together. Or I could just have it look a little lighter than I was planning to, like it's a little washed out. I would prefer not to do that, but boy, the lazy side of me is winning right now. No, I'm gonna French seam them. I'll be right back. Crap. It is fixed. So that's what the outside looks like, and then that's what the inside looks like. It's got a little like, if I weren't kind of in a hurry, what I would do is press this down and then stitch it so that it lays nice and flat. Being lazy, you can yell at me all you want to. I don't care. I'm not doing it. Next thing is to pin the pockets down. This pattern does have marks where the pockets are supposed to go, which is super helpful because on these elastic waistband shorts and pants, it's always a little difficult to get the pocket placement right. Also, if you want to do side seam pockets, this is the time to do it. Don't wait until the garment's done. Trust me, I know. We will get them sewn on. We will join these puppies together in holy patrimony and get some elastic put in. Make sure that you get your back pockets on before you sew the two sides together because it's a whole lot easier, and ta-da! You end up with pockets. Look at that. I'm going to serge the fronts and the backs together, and then we will talk about the waistband. When you're putting these together, you will probably notice that the front panel is a little bit shorter than the back panel. And the reason for that is that the back has to accommodate the booty. If you get to this point and you're like, WTF, it's normal, it's supposed to do that, keep trucking. I just wanted to put it out there because the first time threw me off a lot. I thought I was doing something wrong, and I wasn't. They look huge, absolutely enormous. But I did do one size up, so that's okay. Not a big deal. And if they're big, that's fine too. You're gonna want to see this. I think they're gonna be high-waisted enough. I feel like, who is it with the really super high pants? Is it like Tweedledum with the suspenders? I mean, it's kind of a vibe. I don't hate it. We're gonna roll down the waistband, put some elastic in there, and it's gonna be done. Let's do it. So because these are so high-waisted, you can really afford to fold them down significantly. I'm sure in the pattern it tells how much you should be folding these down, but I'm kind of just gonna eyeball it because that's how we roll. I'm gonna fold it down twice, like that. Make sure the back is nice and neat. And one thing that sometimes trips me up is how to deal with the overlapping seams here. With this being left open like I did, it will fold one way in one fold and the other way in the other fold. So it's not like stacking up on top of each other. It's an inexact science, I guess, but I want to give my sewing machine the best chance of getting through everything. You're going to pin it all the way around, and then you're going to iron it first. Please iron this first, or else when you sew it down, it goes all like squidgy. Once you have everything pressed in place, not ironed, don't do this with the iron over the waistband, because again, it'll get all like squidgy. Don't do it. Just press, hold, release. And steam helps. What you're gonna do, oh God, I have bitten the same spot on my lip about 14 dozen times, and it makes me angry every single time. And now I'm doing it without even eating. It's bullshit. When we go to sew this, I like to start along the top of the waistband first. It just seems to kind of sit better if I do that rather than starting down here. So I like to sew about 1/2 inch in on the top of the waistband. Also, when the elastic comes together, it kind of at the top of the waistband, and for some reason I just feel like that's a little bit more flattering than just the elastic being there. It doesn't really matter where you start as far as sewing around this part of the waistband, but wherever you start, make sure that when you finish, it's about 3 or 4 inches away from the start so that you can get the elastic in there. I like to start at the front inseam just because it's a little bit easier for my brain to remember, and then we'll get the elastic put in, and then they're done. So they're pretty dang easy. I have everything sewed down. So this one goes all the way around, and then this one down here you can see stops before and after the seam here. So I've got like a space. Now let's talk elastic. I have 2 different types available to me. I have this, which is about 1 inch wide. It is very, very springy. I got it out of a fitted bed sheet, so I can reuse that pretty well. I think that'd be pretty nice. I think it would sit well on my stomach. I also have this much wider elastic. It is about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches wide, and it's not quite as stretchy. It's a little bit firmer. If I were making pants, I would probably use this because there's a little bit more weight to pants. There's a little bit more that we need to keep up. Also, what I need to consider is my channel that I have right here. So my thick elastic will fit in there just fine by itself. However, this thin elastic, if I put just this in this giant channel, it's gonna wobble around. It's gonna, stretch out. Maybe not stretch out, but it's gonna move a whole lot. But what I am able to do is if I sew one more band around the waist, I can actually fit 2 channels for this thinner elastic. It'll still be pretty comfortable, and I'll have a little bit more hold so my pants don't go falling down. And then I will show you how to get the elastic in there.
I rely on the very scientific method of measuring elastic by wrapping it around my waist and hoping that it fits over my butt. That's it.
The last step in this is to get the elastic put in. So I like to have a big, giant, see, this is why people have to do this thing. So I like to have a big safety pin. You are going to poke it through your elastic and then send it through the channels that you've sewn in. The big thing for your comfort, not for function, just for your comfort, is to make sure that your elastic stays nice and flat all the way around. Boy, turned elastic just grates on my nerves. I'm gonna start on the top channel of my shorts and do that one first, and then I'm going to put the second one in. While I'm doing this, a lot of folks gave me really great comments on my craft show video. If you didn't watch that, it's up here. And I had an experience. Now that I am a few weeks out, it maybe wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and my husband actually thought it was a little bit better than I thought it was. So my perspective has shifted just a little bit. And because of all the great things you guys have commented on, I think I'm gonna try another one maybe next month. If nothing else, I just wanna see what works and what doesn't. So I am compiling a big list of the suggestions that you guys gave me, and I am going to make that available once I try this again, because so many of you do craft markets. I think it would be really cool to kind of have just a reference guide of suggestions for craft markets. Some of it is contradictory, but that's okay, because if one suggestion doesn't work, then maybe another one will. So thank you to everybody who gave me ideas and maybe even some very blunt feedback. None of it was nasty, but some of it was comments that made me stop and really think about what I did and why I did it and what I was actually expecting. So thank you for those too. It did not hurt my feelings. It just made me stop and kind of question what I was doing. Also, while I'm doing this, I would like to thank all of my members over on Ko-fi. You guys are my maker squad, and I am so appreciative of you. For $2 a month, you guys get first access at any of the found fabrics that I post over there. I've also posted some sewing supplies over there. The last thing I posted was mismatched set, I guess, of vintage crochet hooks that I just found. They are all steel, a variety of sizes. I'm not a crocheter, I have no idea if these are good or not, but I love the idea of having the vintage ones, and they're all made in the United States. So those are over on my Ko-fi page for my makers right now. If you don't want to be a maker, that's fine. No big deal. Nothing else changes. So thank you to everybody who supports me over there. Now, let's get back to some elastic. I am all the way through with my safety pin. What I also do is I pin the other end of the elastic to the shorts just so it doesn't get sucked in, because then you got to start all over, and homegirl is not starting all over on anything. So I do that both out of experience and laziness. I'm going to call it efficiency. It's not laziness, it's efficiency. Once I have the elastic back through, I've got both tails sticking out, I'm going to pin them together, and then I'm going to try this on to make sure that it is tight enough, it's loose enough, it goes over my hips, and that way I know I've got a little bit of wiggle room as well. I'm pretty happy with that. With one more band of elastic in there, it's going to be just a little bit more firm, so I think I'll get the right fit overall. So the last step we have is we gotta sew our elastic together. I pull it as far out of the waistband as I can, and I overlap it by a couple of inches, and then we're gonna use a zigzag stitch on this end and this end just to keep it firmly attached to itself. We don't want any lost friends here. We'll do that, and I will see you guys in the reveal for these. So no surprise, these are too big. I knew that was probably going to happen, but I wanted to see what too big actually looked like. If I were making these pajama pants, I think they would be the right kind of too big. But for pants, too big for pants. These were a size 16. I am going to cut the pattern down to like halfway between 12 and 14. And I think that'll be about perfect. I'm going to make another pair of shorts because these are also way too long. I don't know what kind of cuff they're looking to put on these shorts, but holy moly, they are long. They may as well be pants at this point. So I will make another pair of shorts. I'm going to make a pair of pants, and then I'm going to hopefully make a surprise garment as well. I'm not going to walk you through all of those things. I will show you the pattern reduction that I do, and then I'll show you the final products. The other thing that I want to try and correct on these pants is the front. There is just too much fabric on the front, especially along that center seam. And in a lot of patterns that I've used, if I take maybe an inch, half inch out of both of those panels along that center seam, then I can get a much smoother front. So I think what I'm going to do is, just like I planned, cut the pattern pieces at kind of a 12.5, 13, and make a pair, and then decide if I want to fix that center seam. This was the 16, that would be 14, and that would be 12. So I'm going to try and cut it just between these two and see how much of a difference it makes on the overall fit.
And for this round, I decided to use a curtain panel to make pants.
All right, what have we learned from this last experiment? This pattern runs very, very large, like huge. And looking at the pictures, it looks like it's supposed to be a little oversized, especially in the legs, but I always kind of forget that mood patterns run big anyway. So this last cut was between a 12 and a 14. I'm gonna cut it down to like an 8, I think. And I am not a size 8 in anything. And we'll do one more set of shorts, I think. That works. We will make a real pair of pants. And just as a reference, for the front pockets, I am actually using a half a hoodie pocket as the pattern piece for that. I'm going to cut this monstrosity down to a size 8, cut out another shorts pattern, and give it a shot. I think I'm also going to take like a few inches off the top because the rise on this is insane. It's just not what I'm looking for. Adjustment number 3.
This felt like the right thing to do, but ultimately I think I took just a little bit too much off, but it was better than how big it was.
I have my adjusted patterns. Once again, the front pattern and the back pattern are different sizes. And what I'm kind of seeing is, because I took that space out of the crotch on the front, I may have to mirror it just a little bit on the back because it does kind of have a saggy butt to it as well. So I may just squidge this in just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. But I may also go ahead and just make a pair of shorts and see how that fits. So here's round 3. I am going to use this fabric, which is the remainder of my Kira skirt. So if you haven't watched that video and you want to be thoroughly confused on how I make something, you should go over there and watch that one, because I did not explain that well at all. Sorry. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use this for the shorts, and we'll see how this pattern fits. Ready, set, transform. I said transform.
This attempt was much, much better. It was slightly too small in the hips, so getting it over my butt was a little much, but the overall fit was much, much better. So I think I can do small tweaks now and make them almost perfect.
Hypothetically speaking, let's just say that that front seam still gives a little bit of front butt, or you get those pull lines that draw the eye to the crotch. What I would do, hypothetically speaking, is I would just fold that seam over itself and then sew down that seam to hold it in place. That's what I would do. Hypothetically speaking, it didn't happen. I think this pattern is just about right, so let's make pants for real. This one is for all the money. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be perfect. We're gonna win. You may be asking what I'm gonna make these pants out of. I've been holding on to this for a while, probably over a year. I thrifted 5-8 yards of this. I don't know, it's a lot, but it is this like, ooh, hi, you did not need to be that close, but it is like this window pane, deep navy with like a hint of a red stripe. I don't think it's wool. I know I tested it at one point. I don't think that it's wool, but it's very lightweight. It feels like suiting material. I have tons of it, so if this doesn't work, it's gonna be fine. But I think it's gonna work because I think I've got this pattern the way I want it. We're gonna cut it out, and we are going to make ourselves the best pants ever. You've seen the process. We don't need to beat a dead horse. Here we go. My special fabric into my special pants.
Okay, I love these. They are just dressy enough that I can wear them to work, but they are also like pajama pants. They're made of wool. They're work trousers, but they also have an elastic waistband, which means I can be bloated all day long and nobody needs to know. And look at how good the butt looks. I'm telling you, we nailed it.
Hopefully through this video, you've seen that if you take time to deep dive into one simple pattern and make small adjustments along the way, you can create looks that are so different that it doesn't look like you're using the same pattern over and over and over again, while still maintaining the fit that works best for you. By starting with the base pattern and then maybe making one small change, you can go from rolled up shorts to boxer shorts. And then by elongating the legs, you can go from boxers to comfy casual pants. Even if they are a little too big, it's still a different look. You can crop the pants a little bit and add some elastic and create something that is quite a bit different. By changing the fabrics, you can make these look like brand new patterns. You don't need to invest a lot of money into different patterns. You just need to invest a lot of time into making these patterns work for you. Now, I know I promised you a surprise, so based on this pattern and with a few adjustments, I want to show you my set of overalls inspired by this look from Free People.
These are not exact dupes, but man, I think they're cute. And if you think I should do a video to explain how I made them, put it down in the comments. Let me know.
If you haven't subscribed already, click the subscribe button. Don't forget to give this video a like, and I hope you enjoy my surprise overalls. Bye!